Look, we all want the same thing, right? A secure retirement. But let's be real, in a world with crazy market swings and inflation that just won't quit, how do you actually protect that nest egg you've worked so hard to build? That is the million-dollar question we're tackling today. We're going to put two heavy hitters head-to-head, the 401k we all know, and the gold IRA. All right, let's get into it. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the big picture, securing your retirement. Then we'll dive into what a gold IRA actually is. After that, it's the main event, the side-by-side comparison with the 401k. We'll cover the super important IRS rules you gotta follow, how to actually move your money over, and then we'll wrap up by talking about your personal strategy. You know, the real challenge for every single one of us is making sure our money doesn't just grow, but that it's also safe. I mean, market volatility can wipe out years of gains in a flash. And inflation, well, it's like a slow leak, constantly draining your buying power. It's a constant battle to protect that future you're working towards.
And this quote from Rickerhart, it just hits the nail on the head. This whole thing isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers, is it? It's about that dream. It's about securing a life of freedom, of choice, after you've put in the decades of work.
Okay, let's kick things off with the one most of us are familiar with, the good old 401k. It's easy, it's convenient, it's sponsored by your employer, and it often comes with that amazing perk, the company match, which is basically free money. The key thing to remember here, though, is that you're picking from a limited menu of investments that your employer chose for you.
Now, on the other side of the ring, we have the gold IRA. This is a special type of self-directed IRA, and that self-directed part is huge. It means you are in the driver's seat. The standout feature? It lets you hold real physical assets, like actual gold and silver bars and coins, all while getting the same tax benefits you'd get from a regular IRA.
So you might be asking, why on earth would you want to hold a chunk of physical metal in your retirement account? Well, it all comes down to playing a different kind of game, a strategy that's all about protection and diversification, stepping outside the usual world of just stocks and bonds.
When you get right down to it, there are usually four big reasons people get interested in gold IRAs. First, diversification. Gold often zigs when the stock market zags. Second, it's a classic hedge against inflation and economic chaos. Third, there's just something about owning a real, tangible asset you can't get from a stock ticker. And fourth, it gives you way more control over your investments.
All right, time for the main event. Let's put these two accounts side by side. This is where we really get into the nuts and bolts of how they're different and where you can see their unique strengths and, yeah, their weaknesses.
And boom, right off the bat, one of the biggest differences is how much you can put in each year. A 401k lets you save a ton more. We're talking over 3 times as much as an IRA. For anyone trying to max out their savings, that's a huge, huge advantage for the 401k.
This chart gives us a perfect bird's eye view. You can see the differences in everything from what you can invest in and whether you can take out a loan to that employer match and the fees you'll pay. Let's zoom in on a couple of the most important points here.
You know, what this really comes down to is a question of control versus convenience. With a gold IRA, you're in total command. You pick the exact metals, you pick the company, you pick the storage. A 401k, on the other hand, is all about simplicity. Here's your list, just pick one. It's that classic trade-off.
And here are 2 massive points for the 401k. Being able to borrow against your savings in an emergency can be an absolute lifesaver. And that employer match? I'll say it again. It's free money that supercharges your retirement. A gold IRA just doesn't have either of these perks.
But here's the catch. With all the control you get in a gold IRA, you also get a lot more responsibility. To keep those tax benefits, you have to follow a super strict set of rules from the IRS. And trust me, there is zero wiggle room here. The IRS is incredibly specific about the quality of the metal you can hold. Your gold has to be 99.5% pure. Silver, 99.9%. Platinum and palladium, 99.95%. There is one famous exception, though, the American Gold Eagle coin. It's allowed even though it's only 91.67% pure, basically a special thumbs up because it's an official U.S. coin.
Okay, listen up, because this might be the single most important rule to remember. You cannot, and I mean absolutely cannot, store your IRA's gold in your house. No home safes, no safety deposit boxes at your local bank. The metal has to be held by a third-party IRS-approved storage facility. If you break this rule, you could get your whole IRA disqualified. It's serious stuff.
So, let's say you're interested. How do you actually get your money from an old 401k into a brand new gold IRA?
The most common way is a process called a rollover. Let's walk through how that works, because there are a couple ways to do it.
You've got two choices. The direct rollover is simple and safe. The money goes straight from your old account to your new one, never touching your hands. Then there's the indirect rollover, which is way riskier. They cut you a check, but, and this is a big but, they're required by law to automatically withhold 20% for taxes.
And if you go with that indirect rollover, this number, 60, is everything. You have just 60 days to deposit the entire amount, including that 20% they withheld, which you have to come up with out of your own pocket, into the new IRA. If you miss that deadline by even a day, that whole amount can be seen as a withdrawal and you'll get hit with taxes and penalties. Ouch.
See, this is why the direct rollover is so much cleaner. You just pick a good gold IRA company, they help you open the account, and then they handle the direct transfer of funds for you. Once the money's there, you buy your approved metals, and they get shipped straight to the secure depository you chose. It's a clean, simple, and most importantly, compliant process.
We've thrown a lot of information at you. So now the big question turns back to you. How does any of this fit into your financial life? What are your actual goals for retirement?
Now, it's really important to keep all this in perspective. Pretty much any financial expert will tell you that alternative assets, like gold, should probably only make up a small strategic slice of your entire portfolio. We're usually talking about something in the 5 to 10% range. It's not about ditching stocks and bonds, it's about adding another layer of defense. At the end of the day, it comes down to asking yourself some tough questions. Like, what's your personal tolerance for risk? Are you trying to hit home runs and go for aggressive growth? Or is protecting what you've already built your #1 priority right now?
If this is a path you're seriously considering, especially if you're a high net worth investor, a company like Augusta Precious Metals is often seen as a leader in this space. You can give them a call directly at 855-466-4671 to learn more. And hey, we've also dropped some more resources for you down in the description.
So let's end with this one final thought. Think about your own quest for that secure retirement, for that life of freedom we talked about. Is the portfolio you're building designed to protect that dream, to weather the storms, or is it just built to chase the next big return? The truth is, the best strategy is probably a smart balance of both.
A quick note for high net worth U.S. investors. Due to the unprecedented rise of inflation rates and experts predicting massive growth in the prices of gold and silver, this year might be the perfect time to diversify your portfolio with these assets. That's why we affiliated with Augusta Precious Metals, the #1 gold IRA company in 2022 and 2023 voted by Money Magazine. This company will help you turn a part of your retirement portfolio into precious metals 100% tax and penalty-free, and will also do 95% of the paperwork with you. For more information, check out the link in the description box below where you can grab Augusta's free Gold IRA guide